If retirement is a journey, what's in your suitcase? Are you bringing freedom, peace, and purpose, or fear, regret, and outdated habits? Come up today on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
You are moments away from finally getting the inside track on finance.
You've saved, you've done all the preparation, but when it's time to execute, you have to shift from preparing to performing.
This is the Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
What we're going to do is take the guesswork out of financial planning for you.
Making more momentum with your money.
You made it into our show, Financial Fast Track with Tod Long from Long Financial Services and Jackie Selby on this side. Tod, how are you doing? I know that you're a beef lover. I found this out.
Yes, we have just been talking about some beef. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's been a crazy week from last week. Did you mention had a lot of phone calls, which is always great.
That's great.
So what we said actually resonated. So I'll hopefully continue to do that.
Oh, I'm sure that will be the case. I'm so glad that people are liking the show. We're kind of brand new working together, even though you've been in financial services for a heck of a long time after you left being a professional athlete, right?
Yeah. So I was an athlete for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, a little bit less. If you include college, obviously a little bit longer.
Sure.
Obviously Oakland University. And then after that went to, started doing some financial services work. Actually, I worked in corporate America for a hot second. I didn't like it. And then started to venture into fiduciary type of arena, working for, certain companies I won't mention on the phone or on the radio show. But
okay.
I left that and started doing my independent financial advisory stuff.
Very good. It seems to me corporate's no fun really, unless you're at the very top. Don't you agree?
I do agree. Yeah. If you're at the top, well, you know what? I say that. I mean, I've been in corporate and I've been at the top and guess what? Those are the people, especially if you get bought out, the people at the top typically are the ones that get cut first. So
right.
I've experienced that quite a bit. Yeah. It's another reason why I was like, you know what? I need to do my own thing.
Good for you. Speaking of that, because there is a lot of job news in the news, the jobs report was pretty flat. And I'm finding that there's a lot of head rolling at the top of the corporate level for a lot of places. Mid-managers, upper middle managers are all getting these buyout deals. So you, as an advisor to those people who are calling to say, hey, I got this big buyout. What am I going to do with this money? How do you talk to them about that?
Well, it's really about planning. Seriously, it's about, okay, so you have, depending upon obviously the age, if they are over 59 and a half years old, there's lots of options. If they're not, then guess what? There's not a lot of options. You may have to stick it out for 4 years, 3 years, whatever it may be. I just talked to a client who is, he's down in Houston, just got laid off from an oil and gas company. He's 56 years old. His wife is 55 years old. She's looking to retire this month, because I talked to him a couple of days ago.
At 55?
At 55, yeah, he's 56, does not want to go back to work. And so we had to try to figure out, what are we going to do for this 3.5 years? And so, the conversation is still ongoing, but, we looked at, there's the rule of 55 you can actually use. So if he leaves his money, where is that at the corporation, he can actually take that money out and, obviously pay taxes on it, et cetera, until 59 and a half, of which we have other monies we can actually start to manipulate. And so, again, early conversations, but the conversation is really about where the money is located at right now, what the age is, and what can we do to either bridge to 59 and a half, or if you're over, let's talk about, RMD, restructuring, or Roth conversions, all kind of different things.
Mm-hmm. Very good. You're listening to a really very new show, but I feel that we're experts here. It's Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, a former sprinter. I have to get that in there. OU. You did some time there in the 90s and won lots of awards at the national level as well, and competed professionally, not just at the collegiate level. But that's why it's Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. And, of course, your dad and his twin brother, they were sprinters. Did they run the short sprints like you, or did they run the longer distances as well? Did they do the 400?
No, I say no. They primarily were short sprinters, like 100-meter.
Okay.
There's a ongoing discussion with my father.
Okay.
Even probably today, who would be faster in the 100-meter. Granted, I know that I would win. But when I was like a young lad, and he was on the radio at one point having an interview, and he said, "Of course I would win." I was like, "There's no way you can you can beat me in the 100 meter." But anyway, that's kind of the thing he does. But yeah, 100 meter. They dabbled in the 200 meter. I'm more of a longer sprinter, so I can do the 100 meter. 200 meters is my specialty, but also I can run the 400 meter as well. So they're more shorter sprinters.
Well, and back then, they didn't have rubber on their shoes.
No, and they ran on cinder tracks. So there's huge differences between what I was doing and what they were doing. So my dad may have the right idea, thinking he probably could compete with me, but I still don't think so.
Right. He'd have to put some sort of damper on the results, given the shoe type and the
exactly.
track type.
Yeah, and the track type.
Handicap.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, he'd have to handicap that result.
Right.
Well, let's get back to our family here that we're talking about. The man is 56 and wants to retire. The woman is ready to retire at 55. How do you help them bridge the gap when it comes to their medical care? Oh, dear. Until they get to, Medicare age at 65. What do people do?
Yeah, it's all about planning. You have to make sure that you have the right amount of income streams that are coming in. So an income plan, basically, that encompasses all your incidentals, your mortgage, your car notes, whatever it may be, but also medical insurance. And so you're not going to be able to get Medicare until like 65 years old. So if you're 56, guess what? You're in the market. You're in the marketplace, I should say, finding out the best insurance plan you can actually get for your family. And in some instances, that's almost $1,000, a little bit more on a monthly basis. You have to budget that into your plans.
Man, that could wipe some people out. I assume that they're in a better position than the average middle class family, because even if you take Cobra, for example, Todd, don't you agree? That can be very expensive, and that only lasts 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. Cobra is, that is a bridge you can actually technically use, but it's not a long-term type of solution. So you want to use that time wisely, obviously trying to find a solution that is better for you and your family. If the wife is working, like she technically is currently right now, only for a month. But this is a kind of a misnomer type of situation. But usually if a spouse is not employed or just got recently laid off, perhaps the wife is working, perhaps that person can get on that spouse's medical until you have either the ability to get another job or you really finish up the retirement plan or the income plan that actually encompasses a good medical plan.
Sure. And I trust you to make the right plan. But in general, don't you read about and we hear about people having to go back to work in their 70s because they ran out of money?
Yeah, exactly. I just read an article over the weekend with that exact thing. I think there's several different couples. I didn't read the whole article, but I want to say I read about maybe 4 or 5 of them, but they all went back to work, or they extended their careers until 70s. Now, granted, some of these careers are like, white collar, so they're like professors or whatever it is, but they want to retire at 62, 65 years old, et cetera. But in society, the market's not really doing well. The economy is not doing well. So this is an easy job and I'm just going to continue to work. And so that's what they were doing. But I did talk to a prospect earlier this week who was 73 years old. His wife is 66. Both of them are in education, and they plan on moving back into the workforce because they have run out of money. And so it's because they didn't really have a plan. They didn't plan when they was young adults. They didn't take advantage of a 403B or 457 or 401k, et cetera. So now they find themselves in a situation where they have to earn to be able to save money.
Oh, goodness.
And one thing I would say, more and more people that I talk to, they feel confident about their savings, but they still worry whether or not their nest egg is actually going to really withstand the market swings and actually last throughout the retirement. So what we've done is we create a plan. We like to create plans actually that actually help you last the entire life, no matter how long that may be. So that's what kind of drives us. It's what we're good at, and it's actually what we do day in and day out. And that's why we've created the Financial Fast Track Review. For the next 10 callers, we're going to offer a no-cost, no-obligation financial review. This analysis will include a fee report and risk assessment to help you recognize the unnecessary losses in your portfolio and see if by simply protecting your retirement investment and minimizing or even eliminating those fees, you could actually experience dramatic growth potential. Second, we'll perform a tax analysis to reveal how you could possibly reduce your taxes and increase your cash flow. And finally, we develop a customized income plan utilizing proven strategies that could actually strengthen your retirement income and actually take the worry out of living in retirement. So in short, what we're going to do is actually take the guesswork out of financial planning for you. So again, for the next 10 callers, that's a comprehensive financial fast track review that we're going to provide complimentary with no obligation. Jackie, please tell the folks how to get in contact with us.
Here's the number, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409 to get your financial fast track review from Tod Long. And the show is Financial Fast Track. Okay, be right back.
You've built a life filled with achievements. Now imagine a retirement that matches everything you've worked so hard for. Picture peaceful mornings by the water, cherished family moments, and time spent enjoying what matters most, free from worries about market fluctuations. At Long Financial Services, retirement means comfort, confidence, and security. Tod Long will partner with you to design a sophisticated retirement strategy that reflects your values, safeguards your wealth, and ensures your legacy thrives for generations to come. Because true wealth is more than what you've accumulated. It's what you leave behind for those you cherish most. Let's secure your family's future and honor the remarkable life you've built. Schedule your complimentary consultation today with Tod Long at Long Financial Services. 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409.
Long Financial Services bringing you this show, Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, and servicing OKC and you, if you would like Tod to work with you, 888-548-0409. He promises a financial fast track review so that you can understand what's coming up, to do with your personal finances and your retirement plan. Again, on his number, 888-548-0409. Tod, I feel that sometimes people just refuse to believe that they're going to have to spend this money, or they don't know how to. They're stuck in accumulation mode.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like, we mentioned a traveling or a suitcase, like you're going on a trip. For a lot of people, retirement's like dragging a suitcase that's actually bursting at the seams. It's packed with decades of just in case money. Oh. The problem is they never actually stopped to ask themselves, am I packing the right stuff for this journey that I'm about to be on? So I met a gentleman recently who actually been maxing out his 401k for 35 years, a long, long time. Wow. His whole identity was actually tied to watching that balance grow.
Right.
But when retirement actually arrived, he admitted he had no idea how to turn that pile of cash into some sort of a plan. So he actually asked me, Velik actually told me this. I feel like I've been carrying around this heavy bag my whole life, but I don't really know how to open it and actually use what's inside to actually make something happen for me in my retirement years. So that's where the shift actually happens, moving from obsessing over the weight of the bag to actually organizing what's inside. So it actually serves your journey well. Retirement really isn't about, how heavy that bag is. It's actually about whether you've actually packed the right essentials in that bag for the place you're going. Oh,
wow. That's profound. Wait a minute. Let me grab my pen. I want to write that down so I can remember it again. Tod's number is 888-548-0409. You can get going with your secure financial plan with Tod. Obviously, he understands, been doing this 22 years, 888-548-0409. I like the suitcase analogy. I think that's really helpful. People can certainly understand that because a lot of people have a big trip plan, don't they, in retirement? First thing, when we're done, we're going on the trip to fill in the blank.
Yes. A lot of people love to go on big trips, but a lot of people don't plan for those big trips.
So, Tod, what is the amount of and the, definition of financial clutter that slows people down in their plan for retirement?
Yeah, financial clutter it really can happen. What it is I've met people who has 5 to 6 different retirement accounts, all scattered across different jobs. Oh. They have insurance policies that either they don't need anymore or that's expired. I just talked to somebody last week. He said I had a term policy. Term is temporary, 30 years ago, and I'm thinking, Well, that term policy is pretty much gone if it's 30 years ago, because I don't know if any term policy is going to last 30 years. So we're still in the process of actually discussing it. But I was like, you have these things that you don't technically need, or even a house that's too big for the lifestyle at this point. It creates confusion, and confusion actually leads into inaction. Again, I had a gentleman that had several different accounts. He had 3 accounts at old employers. He also had a brokerage account that he really barely looked at. And he admitted he had no idea what's in any of them, right? So once we actually consolidated and actually created a clear structure, he said he felt that he cleaned out his attic, because less clutter means more clarity. More clarity actually means more peace of mind.
I like that a lot. That just stick it in the attic and forget about it, right? You don't have to deal with it if it's just up there.
Right. In the financial plan, you can't do that. Or your finances, you can't technically do that. You can't just, put it away someplace, put it in a box, put it in the garage, and pull it out when you technically need it, like that old, prune shears, like, it's all rusted up and beat up, whatever it is, and then you got to go and get something else. So if you keep it sharp, keep it clean, then yeah, it's useful. It's useful all the time.
But I find that some people, when they find out that I'm, working with you and we're talking about this subject matter, they go, I have a financial plan. It's in that desk drawer right there, and it's my 401k statement.
Right. Well, you need a little bit more than that, because just because you have a 401k statement doesn't mean you have a way to actually extract the money out of the 401k in a systematic type of approach that actually is tax beneficial, tax efficient, and actually supports whatever lifestyle you're going to have.
Right, because otherwise that could be a poor tax structure, right, for what you want to do in retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. If you do the wrong things, obviously you pay more taxes, or if you don't do the right thing, you'll get penalized and pay more taxes. So you got to have the right kind of structure for that 401k or any other type of plan you have that encompasses your Social Security, any pensions, plus these 401ks. You want all those to kind of blend together and fund the right things, whether it be the incidentals or those big trips you're trying to take, or whatever it is you're going to do, play golf, or learn how to play pickleball.
Call Todd if you want to talk about these tax structuring opportunities for you to do with your retirement. 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. We're talking about packing your retirement suitcase. So what are the must-haves inside my retirement suitcase? I'm ready.
Yeah, it's a good question. So beyond stocks, bonds, annuities and those kinds of things, a successful retirement suitcase actually includes things like strong relationships, meaningful purpose, a healthcare plan, and actually some joy, right? Money is just simply a tool that actually helps you support those essentials. I had a couple who had their finances perfectly organized, but admitted they had no plan on how they're going to spend their time. So we actually talked about travel. We talked about volunteering, mentoring young professionals. Once they built some sort of retirement vision, the money suddenly had a mission, and that made all the difference in the world in retirement.
Does this include possibly putting up one of those, tents and then the table at the farmer's market that says "Ask an old person"? Advice, and everybody sit around in the chairs. I always wanted to do ask a grandma or something.
Ask a grandma. Yeah, you can certainly do that. I've spoken with grandparents before who, as a matter of fact, part of this whole vision thing, what to do in retirement. And really, it's really about legacy. We may talk about that later on, but the legacy piece was actually writing handwritten letters to their grandchildren. Now, my mom still does this to me, by the way. Handwritten letters, just stories. That's all it really is, stories. And so those stories are very impactful because, number one, it's handwritten. Who writes a handwritten letter anymore, right? It's all about email. I was going to almost say fax, but I don't know why faxes anymore. But handwritten emails are awesome, and so that's what this grandmother technically does: is sends those handwritten letters to their grandchildren. Very impactful, and it's leaving a legacy right now. Yeah.
That is amazing. I wish we could turn back the hands of time. I could get a few more stories out of my mom and dad. They were just so busy working and everything. It just seemed like in that generation there wasn't enough time for that for some reason. So that's very good stuff to do. All right. Are people, since you are a former sprinter, are people running away from work? Goodbye, work? Or are they running towards their vision?
Yeah, that's a good question. So too many people actually retire from something. They're either exhausted, they're burnt out, or just want out of corporate America or whatever, job you have. But if you don't know what you're going to retiring to, you're going to risk drifting. I had a client who actually retired from a demanding corporate job. At first, he thought it's going to be endless golf and TV watching and all that kind of stuff. It's going to feel like freedom. But within 6 months, he told me that he felt lost. So what we had to do is actually work together to help him define what this new vision is going to be. So that's either, again, mentoring young professionals, volunteering, either traveling with purpose. Again, I like to travel with purpose when I say I go to distillery tours all around the world. So very, very similar, because it's kind of discussion I had with him. He had to find what that purpose is going to be for his travel. Now, once we had something, for him to run towards, retirement started to feel like, meaningful again for him. And I'll give an analogy for sprinting. It's just like a relay. If all you think about is getting the baton from out of your hand as fast as possible to the next person, you're going to miss your handoff. The real success comes in knowing where that next runner is and actually aiming for that smooth exchange. Retirement works the same way. So you're not just leaving work behind, you're actually passing into the next phase with a clear vision of what's going to come next for you.
That's beautiful. I was just looking at your record here, and you won the World Indoor Championship on the 4x4 400 millimeter relay. So that means 4 people were handing the baton, the starter, then the second runner, then the third runner, then you finish.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was third leg on that relay, but yes. Yeah. So you have your starting runner who has the baton, he's in the blocks, etc. Indoors is 2 laps to 400 meters. So you'd run 2 laps, and then the second person would run 2 laps, and I would run 2 laps, and I would hand off to the anchor.
Wow.
And run 2 laps.
On TV, watching the coverage, you don't even see your feet moving. They're going so fast. It's an amazing thing to witness. Oh, Todd, I just love that we're working together. All right, let's put a bow on this particular segment. What do you have?
Many people that I talk to, like I said, they feel confident about savings, but they still worry about whether that nest egg is going to last through the retirement and whether or not it's going to withstand any kind of market volatility. Making sure you actually have an income plan that actually lasts your entire life, no matter how long that life may be, is what drives us. It's what we're good at. It's what we do every single day. And that's why we actually created a financial fast track review. For the next 10 callers, we're going to offer a no cost, no obligation financial review. This analysis will include a fee report and risk assessment to actually help you recognize unnecessary losses in your portfolio and see if by simply protecting your retirement investment, actually minimizing and or eliminating fees, you could actually experience dramatic growth potential. Second, we'll perform a tax analysis to reveal how you could possibly reduce your taxes and actually increase your cash flow. And finally, we're going to develop a customized income plan utilizing proven strategies that could actually strengthen your retirement income and take the worry out of living in retirement. So in short, what we're going to do is actually take the guesswork out of financial planning for you. So for the next 10 callers, that's a comprehensive financial fast track review that we're going to offer to you free of charge, no obligation.
888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. Do it today.
Feeling like just another number with your advisor? At Long Financial Services, you're always valued personally. Tod Long knows your retirement isn't about numbers on a page. It's about income you can depend on, security you can trust, and advice tailored specifically to you. Take the first step toward a meaningful conversation. Call 888-548-0409. Proudly serving Oklahoma. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Hey, welcome back to the show, Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. And Todd, I was just wondering, when you talk to people about this thing called retirement, do couples have the same idea? Do they align with one another and the overall plan, or how do you counsel them to do so?
Yeah, short answer. When you started to answer that question, I almost laughed because I feel that I'm sometimes a marriage counselor.
You have a referee whistle?
Absolutely, because retirement often reveals different visions of retirement, right? So maybe one spouse wants to travel around the world or do some volunteering work, while the other wants, I don't want any of that. I want to sit at the house, not do anything at all. If those expectations aren't aligned, guess what? You're going to end up with a lot of tension instead of the joy in the household. I have a couple that this is when I felt like I was going to have to referee and be a marriage counselor with. He wanted to get an RV and travel all around the nation and travel up into Canada, travel down to Mexico, et cetera, just tour. And she wanted to stay close to the grandkids. And so we had to talk it through. We had to find a compromise, something that could happen for both. So what they ended up doing, they bought the RV. He got the big, he got to spend that big check.
Yes.
But they took shorter regional trips around, a few times a year, but still kept home base close to home. So that you can see the family and the grandkids, et cetera. So both got what mattered most to them. Sometimes my job, again, is less about the math and dealing with financial planning or income statements, et cetera, and more about helping couples design a life that actually is going to work for the both of them in retirement.
I love it. 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. And I know a couple that they do the van conversions, right? And so, the Sprinter van or the Ram van conversion, and they take it around with their bicycles in the back and everything and stay with the grandkids, like, their children, and they visit the grandkids that way, and they just go around and around and around and around, and they come home once in a while.
Yeah, and that's honestly something that was on the table. The issue with that in this particular couple, I'm sure others aren't the same way, is that all those folks, they really didn't leave their city. Everybody was still there.
Oh.
So when you have expanded family, like my family's expanded.
Yes.
I have my daughters in like Virginia, my son's in Houston, Texas, et cetera. So that makes sense. I can actually travel around and be able to spend time with the grandkids. But no, if I lived in, if it like these other couples, in a hometown, they didn't go anywhere. I mean, their sons and daughters and grandkids, guess what, are 10 miles away.
Well, I guess you could scoop them up, put them in the van, and then go with them somewhere. Take them to Mexico.
For summer trips, absolutely.
Aw, that's fun. I'm glad that we're talking about this because maybe this will stir up some freedom feels in people. And they will get planning. The whole idea is to start your plan. And you can do that with Tod. Long Financial Services is his company. He's been doing this 22 years. You can check him out at longfsg.com, or here's his 888 number. And you can book right into his calendar this way, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. And he can offer you that financial fast track review at no cost, no obligation. And whatever stage you are at, just get dreaming and start the plan. It doesn't cost you anything to sit down with Tod. It's 888-548-0409. And our show is Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. And by the way, I'm Jackie. Be right back.
Retirement means a new phase of life, and managing risk is crucial. At Long Financial Services, Tod Long and his team build comprehensive strategies designed to minimize risk, generate reliable income, and help you stay proactive through every market condition. Discover what your retirement plan could look like. Call 888-548-0409. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Tod Long has a very important message about your legacy. Well, we are talking about financial planning, and that means legacy planning. Oh, it includes so darn much. That's why you want a planner like Tod, if not Tod. 888-548-0409. Long Financial Services is his company, 888-548-0409. All right, what's your statement about our legacy?
Yeah, living your legacy now.
How do we live our legacy now if we're so worried about having money for the future? Can you talk to me about that? Yeah,
so legacy is deeply personal, right? And it's not a one size fits all type of approach. For some, it's actually going to leave money to the children or grandchildren or whatever it may be. For others, it's about faith. It's about values. It's about community involvement. And one of the first questions I ask my customers or potential customers is, when your family talks about you years from now, what do you want them to say, right? That's one of the biggest things about legacy is that. I had a client who thought his legacy was going to be about leaving financial money or money to his children or grandchildren. But when we start to talk about it and dug a little deeper, what he really wanted was for them to actually remember him as a generous and principled person or father. So that shifted his whole perspective from just leaving money later after he's passed away to actually, creating experiences now, today, memories now, today, while he's alive with his family members.
And you can help people flush this out, can't you, to talk about their legacy? I mean, obviously, this is a financial program, and you can help them with their financial planning of their legacy goals. But that kind of a principle is just, I don't know, you can't say enough about it. Being present, showing up for people, right? Giving generously now and later. So do you think people just, by and large, understand what legacy means?
I don't think so. You really have to dig in, and your legacy is more. Let's go back. So your portfolio is more about more than percentages and statements, right?
Right.
It's a reflection of priorities. I've worked with families who have wanted to align their investment with causes they cared about, like clean energy, local business. Development, those kinds of things, or even just ensuring that the withdrawals funded the family goals first. I had a client who specifically wanted to set aside funds to help pay for his grandchildren's education. So what we have to do is restructure part of his portfolio to actually create a steady education fund. So he told me later that he doesn't see numbers anymore. What he sees is his grandkids' future in that money. And that's legacy in real time. It's not waiting for him to pass away and then transfer money and hope that they do something. He's actually impactful for them right now by giving them some sort of education type of fund to further their future.
That's good stuff, and I'm glad that you can counsel people in this general direction, 888-548-0409. Now, along those lines, are there different ways, not to be too technical, but everybody's heard of the 529 account, right, that grandparents or parents can start for the children? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, 529 plans, or you can do, there's other types of products outside of the 529 plan. That's the government's version of what you can technically do.
But
there's multiple different ways. Yeah, there's multiple ways to actually fund education plans. Earmark monies for education. If you wanted a education plan, it's a 529 plan. But in this case, so this grandparents' place, it wasn't really a 529 plan. It was a different type of product.
Oh, I see. Now, that's interesting to me because maybe what if there's multiple children, grandchildren or whatever, and one wants to go to technical school or one wants to start a business just because a 529 is only for college. But what if one doesn't go to college? Then you disinherit them? That's no fun.
No, yeah, exactly. That's correct. So even for my own grandchildren, it's kind of the same thing. So I have a fund that I set up for them that they can use for education if they choose to.
Okay.
Or if they want a car. Now, granted, there's going to be very strict rules around that, but
yes.
they have some money for a car, or if they want to start a business or whatever it may be. These are funds earmarked for this particular grandchild to go do something.
So what other vehicles were you talking about that you are doing for your grandchildren or that you recommend for people other than the 529?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I use different kinds of annuities to actually support some of these causes or support some of these plans or cases.
Okay.
And so if there's all kinds of annuities out there, there's a long-term type annuities like, last 10 years, et cetera. So if a child, for instance, is, let's call it 8 years old, 7 years old, we can actually create an annuity that is designed to annuitize or designed to be able to have access to money in 10 years. So the child's 18 years old. He's got, the grandparents got access to, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 based on what it's grown. We can take that money and use it for either education. We can take that money and use it for starting a business. We can take that money and I want to say starting a business. I would say a child, I would actually recommend that a child at 18, 19 years old actually invests in some sort of business, right? And instead of doing it themselves, buy a business, right? So you have access to do that kind of thing. That's what those kinds of policies can be used for outside of just retirement plans.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now, would the grandparent still own the account, or would the child be the beneficiary?
Yeah, the grandparent can still own the account. They can put the child on as a beneficiary, et cetera. And so it's all designed to allow the grandparent to say, or earmark funds.
Right.
I have this annuity set up for grandchild X. It's going to grow for 5-6 years. And this is kind of how I structure mine. Grow for 5 or 6 years, have this structured as a 10-year annuity. It's going to grow for 10 years. And that, because my grandchild's like at 3 at this point. So at 13, 14 years old, it's going to be this amount of money. So if he needs a car, guess what? I got money to give him a car, all that kind of stuff. That's what those kind of annuities can do for you.
That's wonderful. All right. You can call Todd and ask him how this could benefit you and your family. 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. Of course, when we're talking about giving to the next generation and so on and so forth, we want to avoid the perception of enabling someone.
Yeah, it's a fine line I've experienced. Helping kids is absolutely wonderful. I help my child who's 33 years old as much as I can. But if it robs them of motivation and actually can do more harm than good. Mm-hmm. I had a client who actually is paying all of his adult son's bills, even though the son is perfectly capable of working on his own. So we had to talk through this, what the long-term effect of this is, or the long-term impact of this is. And he realized that he actually wasn't helping the child. He was actually enabling the child. So what we had to do is restructure his support into smaller, purpose-driven gifts that actually encouraged independence. So the result of this right here, because I've had this client for about 8 years or so.
Okay.
So the result is like his son, stepped up, got a good job, stopped, waiting for dad's checks. The relationship actually improved. So what this gentleman did is actually, this is legacy, right? It's actually showing and teaching responsibility while still being generous and still being alive.
You bet. That's good stuff. The other kind of enabling, which I have also seen, is somebody receives money from a trust and they're not really very good shape. Maybe they've had trouble with drugs, alcohol, the like, and they inherit. I mean, this is bad form and a bad plan. But to get a big lump sum of money could be detrimental. It could wrap their car around a pole or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I've not had any customers fortunate in that kind of situation where they inherited a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But I've talked to other advisors, partners who have, and so that is another form of enabling. Mm-hmm. And so those types of individuals, if they don't have a support system to actually that's around them, it could be problematic to have access to all that cash and not have any kind of guidance. So it behooves them to actually get in contact with someone like myself or somebody else who understands, finances and actually can put together an income plan, put this money aside, let it grow, let it work for you, but also still be able to farm out some money to you to take care of the incidentals like mortgages, cars, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Very good. So you can plan all this with Todd at 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409, because certainly you don't want to be, that detrimental contributor to a child or grandchild. You want to help them. But again, Todd can help you plan all this out. And real quick, I wanted to touch on charitable giving as part of our legacy.
Right.
It's the best way to do that, tax advantaged.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different ways to actually do that. One's like a donor advised fund. We'll kind of talk about that. But most retirees that I've dealt with, they are inclined to be charitable. They want to give to churches and children, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But they're also worried, what if I run out of money with doing this, right? And that fear actually paralyzes them. So I call it analysis paralysis. They think I don't want to spend this money because I know I'm going to lose it. Let me analyze a little bit more, and they end up not doing anything at all. Aww. But with the right planning, you can actually give without fear. I had a couple who actually wanted to support, again, their church, a children's charity. And so what we did is we set up a donor advised fund, which actually allowed them to give in a structured manner to these charities, all while actually receiving a tax benefit. And they actually told me they felt that they finally was able to live out what matters to them most without worrying about whether or not they're going to have enough money in retirement. That's the power of actually planning. It actually unlocks the ability to be generous to charities. That's
beautiful. All of it. Very good.
Yeah. And so your legacy isn't just about what you leave behind. It's actually what you live into. And the right plan can actually help you enjoy life now while shining a light for others long after you're gone. That's why we created the Financial Fast Track Review. For the next 10 callers, we're going to offer a no-cost, no-obligation financial review. This analysis will include a fee report and risk assessment to help you recognize unnecessary losses in your portfolio and see if by simply protecting your retirement investment and actually minimizing or eliminating fees, you could actually experience dramatic growth potential. Second, we'll perform a tax analysis to reveal how you could possibly reduce your taxes and actually increase your cash flow. And finally, we develop a customized income plan using proven strategies that align your finances with your values and help you ensure your legacy is intentional and not accidental. So again, for the next 10 callers, that's a comprehensive financial fast track review that we're going to provide complimentary with no obligation.
888-548-0409, 888-548-0409 on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
Is your retirement plan starting to feel generic? You're unique. Your retirement strategy should be too. At Long Financial Services, Tod Long customizes each plan specifically around you, your life, and your goals. For a personalized review of your retirement, call 888-548-0409. Proudly serving Oklahoma. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Retirees finally have time to see the world, but will their wallet need a visa as well? That's our little subject on our scenarios here. It's kind of a questions and answers type of a segment on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long of Long Financial Services. You know, you can see him and learn all about him online if you'd like to at longfsg.com. You could also just do a Google search for Tod Long, 1D in Todd, and you'll learn all about his former career and current career. 888-548-0409 is his phone number. That's a good way to connect and book on into his calendar if you'd like to have some help planning for your financial future, for gosh sakes. Not something to be ignored in this day and age. 888-548-0409. I hate to even call it retirement because people are doing so many things in retirement, aren't they, Todd? Some are working later, some are leaving sooner. I mean, it's just a pivot point in life.
Yeah, exactly. Retirement is all over the place, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I talk to folks that are 50 years old and want to retire now. I'm like, I don't see how that can happen, but of course I'm trying to design a case for it.
Right.
And also have folks that are 73 years old and entering the workforce again. So it's a gambit of where you're at, and you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, then I think what's that term? You fail to plan. You plan to fail.
Plan to fail.
Yeah,
that's so true.
That is true.
And it always feels better if you do have a plan. It's just like, your sport of being a sprinter. You don't start with your foot back. You start with your foot forward, right? Well, 1 foot back to kick off. Am I right? But you don't take 2 steps back to go 2 steps forward and then 3 steps. You don't want to start on the wrong foot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In your retirement years, you want to start being all fresh and planned and ready to conquer.
That is correct. I mean, you have in sprinting, there's always a plan. There's a plan of attack. There's training. There's drills. There's all these different things you're technically doing for the race. But once you get to the race, guess what? You have to execute on those things, and you have to execute on the plan. You have to utilize all the drilling you used to do, all the training you used to do, all the weightlifting, all the dieting. It's execution time once you get to the line. So that's the same thing with retirement. You've done all this stuff in the past as a young adult. You've saved properly. Now it's time to spend the money somehow. What's the vision you're going to do in retirement? Are you going to go on trips? Are you going to stay at the house? Are you going to do these things? That's the kind of stuff we got to talk about.
You bet. Well, here I have a scenario. Somebody planning a $15,000 cruise, and they're going up a European river to celebrate their retirement, but they're not sure if it's smart to take that much from their savings all at once. Oh boy, here this kind of goes back to the plan, doesn't it? So how do you help retirees decide when and how to splurge on these major travels?
Right. This particular situation comes up all the time in my practice. Yeah.
Great.
A $15,000 trip may feel huge if you look at it in isolation, but the key is context. And so what we do is we run projections to see how big splurges actually fit into the bigger picture. If it jeopardizes your essentials like your mortgage, your healthcare, those kinds of things, it may be too much money to spend on this trip. But if the income plan is solid, then a splurge can actually absolutely be part of the journey. I work with a couple who actually wanted a once in a lifetime trip, safari trip down in South Africa, I believe. So what we did is we built that right into their income plan as a bucket list item. So once they saw that it didn't derail their long-term security, they actually booked it and they never looked back. And they actually, the bottom line is the dream trips are very possible when they're planned and not impulsive. So it's all about planning. So make sure you have that $15,000 planned out, mapped out, so you can actually use it and use it well.
Because wouldn't it be a detriment just to yank 15 grand or 20 grand out of your 401k/IRA account? This could affect your future self.
Absolutely. It especially if the market's down, you're taking $15,000 out plus the market's down. That's a double hit, and you don't never want to do that. So when I design these kinds of trips, I make sure that this money is coming from a consistent income stream. Maybe it's outside of that 401k.
Oh, good.
It may be in an income-based annuity or something like that. That's actually paying you consistent money. I work with a customer who is taking RMDs, and so that those RMDs actually fund their trips. So there's ways to do it structurally that where it's not impulsive. It's just all planned.
Good. Plan. Todd's number at Long Financial Services is 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. What if somebody wants to spend part of each winter in another country, specifically Mexico, but they don't understand if Medicare is going to cover them outside the U.S. and worried about out-of-pocket medical costs in case of an emergency or, for half the year that they're there? So how should retirees know about healthcare coverage and the risks when spending an extended time abroad?
Right. That's a very smart concern to have. Original Medicare doesn't cover you outside of the U.S. There are some Medigap plans that actually offer limited foreign travel coverage. And there's Medicare Advantage plans that actually sometimes include some sort of global emergency benefits.
Okay.
But it's often capped and actually short term. I have a client, there's this country I love, it's Costa Rica. He actually goes to winters in Costa Rica. And what he did is he decided to add a supplemental international health care policy.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't very expensive, but it also gave him peace of mind. So the lesson is don't assume your coverage follows you abroad. Usually it's not. If extended travel is part of your plan, we actually need to factor that healthcare protection into your plan as carefully as you do your flights and your booking or in your hotels and your travel or not travel, your autos and food and everything else you're going to be doing on these trips.
That's very good. You're right. That includes good auto insurance for traveling to Mexico.
Absolutely.
Yes, all that kind of stuff. That scares me. I don't know.
I don't know if you've ever been down to Costa Rica, but their infrastructure is not very well. It's not very good. But
it isn't.
An awesome place. Yeah. But traveling from all these airports, it's like 2-lane highways, and you're renting these cars. Always get the insurance coverage.
Always.
That's one place. Always get the insurance coverage when you're down there driving around.
Yeah, I have a chum from my neighborhood, and going kindergarten through 12th grade with, and her and her husband retired down there after working for Safeway for 35 years, and they just love it because it doesn't have the infrastructure, Yeah. And they picked up Spanish rather quickly, and they live on a hilltop with not with the expats, but with the natives, so they love it.
Yeah. I'm sure all those little spider monkeys are all around and hanging around. When I go down there, the monkeys are just awesome. She
loves it. There's a sloth in her front.
Yeah.
At the front of her house, and she goes out there and speaks to them, and so
it is. That's an awesome place to be.
That sounds fun to me. Talk to Todd, 888-548-0409, a quick chat. Sit down with him, no cost, no obligation. He's serving OKC, and he'd just love to serve you. It really would be honor for him to help you get your IRA roadmap going, your tax-free retirement, possibly all your living benefits and retirement planning, and that includes all these travel questions. So again, his number is 888-548-0409. All right, these folks live on a mix of Social Security and a modest pension, but they still want to have a couple of small trips every year. They're trying to avoid dipping into investments too much. So what's the smart way to build this travel budget if someone is a little more modest?
Yeah, this is where those fun buckets come in. I encourage clients to always create a specific travel budget each year, whether it be $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, whatever that may be, whatever you can afford. But it's funded from predictable income streams or the safe reserves.
Okay.
Yeah. That way, travel isn't really a surprise expense. It's actually a planned expense.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a client who They started a kind of a travel savings account that automatically got funded each month from their pension. Again, it's a consistent, predictable stream of income you want these travel expenses to come from. So by the time the summer rolled around, they had plenty of cash ready for their annual trip. Now, it worked just like a vacation fund. I think you recall, well, maybe you recall, I don't know, but as a child, I recall on the news or TV shows or something like that, some sort of vacation fund.
Yes, I remember.
Put like, $5-10 in it or whatever it is. It's very, very similar to that right there. Now, $5-10 is not going to do anything, but that's how it works. But it's structured. If it's structured, it's going to be guilt-free, and it can be sustainable because it's coming from consistent funds. And that's how you actually set those kind of things up.
That's really, have a vacation fund, just like that old TV commercial. What was it for, a savings and loan or something? I don't even remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember as a child, I was seeing it. I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to put that in my practice, but I'm going to do it a little differently.
That's cute because I just don't remember the product they were selling. All right.
Yeah.
Long Financial Services bringing you the show. It's called Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. One more, I think we can squeeze it in. If someone's thinking about paying for the big family vacation for everyone, airfare, lodging, I mean, everything, is it wise to use retirement funds? Are you going to go back to the answer to the last question?
Yeah. Well, actually, I love this question because it actually ties back into the legacy.
Okay.
So, many retirees, they actually, they want to create those memories with family members right now. It's one of the most meaningful ways to actually use their money. But again, it has to be planned. I work with a couple of grandparents who wanted to take their whole family, that's the kids, the grandkids, et cetera, on a Disney trip, of which I've never been to Disney. I need to go. Never been, ever.
You haven't, or they didn't?
I've never been.
Oh, my heavenly days.
Yes. I know. I've never been to Disney. I've been down there for a work trip one time, and I stayed at the Four Seasons for, it was an insurance thing. But I didn't go to any of the Disney stuff. Yeah. Interesting. But anyway, going back to this couple, what they did, instead of draining their savings like from a 401k or whatever, we set up a small family experience fund is what it's called. Actually funded from that RMDs. I kind of mentioned this earlier. It's funded from the RMDs. They're already going to have to take those RMDs already. So just put that money into this account, let it grow. That way the trip is actually paid for. Yeah, absolutely. So the plan stayed intact. They didn't have to really impact the income plan at all. So they were also able to create memories like right now, not like when they pass away, but right now that will technically outlast their entire inheritance, anything they actually give their children, right?
Oh, Todd.
So the key is actually being intentional about what you want to do. Family trips can, be wonderful use of funds, but only when they're built into a strategy, not taken out on impulse.
I love it. That is beautiful.
Yeah. And honestly, this is kind of where we come in, whether it's a cruise or, winter abroad or a few family trips a year, we help make sure those experiences fit comfortably within the bigger retirement plan. That's why we created the Financial Fast Track Review. For the next 10 callers, we're going to offer a no-cost, no-obligation financial review. This analysis will include a fee report and risk assessment to help you recognize unnecessary losses in your portfolio and see if by simply protecting your retirement investment and actually minimizing or even eliminating fees, you could actually experience dramatic growth potential. Second, we'll perform a tax analysis to reveal how you could possibly reduce your taxes and increase your cash flow. And finally, we'll develop a customized plan that includes room for that travel, the fun, and the family experiences that make retirement meaningful without sacrificing your security. So for the next 10 callers, that's a comprehensive financial fast track review that we're going to offer to you free of charge, no obligation. Jackie, let's remind the people how to get in contact with us and save one of those spots for themselves.
888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. And we'll see you next week right here on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. Tod, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Investment advisory services offered through Tod Long, a registered investment advisor. During this show, Tod Long provides general information, not individually targeted personalized advice, and is not liable for the usage of information discussed. Exposure to ideas and products or services should not be considered investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any of these financial vehicles. This information should also not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate, and when redeemed, it may be worth more or less than when originally invested. suggested. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to securities or investment advisory services. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are offered through Tod Long. By contacting Tod Long, you may be provided information regarding the purchase of insurance products.